My name is Judi Glova. I'm an expert in intuitive leadership as well as an executive coach. And today we're going to be talking all about how to unlock your brain's potential by breaking these three key habits. And these three key habits are things that I have seen consistently with the executives that I work with. And I work with people, whether it is, one-on-one or in teams, all across the world. So just to give you a sense, though, of what I really expect out of you is I want you to be a quitter. I really want you to be able to step into opening up to quitting some of these behaviors that you may be having. Now, with that said, my intention, I want to be crystal clear in terms of what my intention is for today, and that is to create a safe space for exploring new levels of knowing. We are going to be using the chat mostly so that I can engage with you, because I can't stand it when I can't communicate with people. So I love to connect with you. To me, connection is that currency of relationship that's so important. And we are going to go through the three habits that you're going to be breaking. And I want to provide as much value for you as possible and practical tools. I don't know about you, but I've been to webinars and workshops where I walked out of there feeling like, yeah, I learned a lot of cool stuff, but how can I actually engage and use these tools? So I'm going to give you tools that you can use. And I'm also going to have an opportunity for Q&A and some value-added swag. So if you stay all the way to the end, you're going to get both bonuses that I'm offering today. But just so you know that there is going to be an opportunity for you to have some amazing swag, as what we call it here in the US, or you want to call it bonuses. So we're going to be able to get into that too. But let's jump in, because my main purpose for you today is really to support you in being fully present and performing at your very best. Because in all situations in business, if you're not fully present, you aren't operating at your fully best. But sometimes we don't necessarily know. We have some blind spots in terms of what we think may be getting in our way. So I'm going to help open that up to help you understand what are some things that may be getting in your way. So I want you to take your best guess. All right. So in terms of Google searches for how to get your brain to focus, what do you think the percentage of increase has been since February? Put your answer in the chat box. So it's the percentage of increase: 80%, 76, 30, 60, 75, 65, 300. All right, Candace, you're the winner. 300. Yay, Candace. All right. So yes, 300%. So think about that, right? 300%. There have been 300% more searches for how to get your brain to focus. So that's important. So keep that thought in mind. But now I want you to take your best guess about, based on a global survey, over blank percent of employees feel overwhelmed and significantly less productive as a result of working from home and all this pandemic-related stuff that's going on. So what percentage of employees do you think feel that they're overwhelmed? 90, 80, 80, 50, 150. I like the 150 and 400%. This is actually going to be from 1 to 100. You guys are great. Yeah, it's actually 78%. So Aisha or Ayushi Gupta, you got it. Woohoo! Awesome. So yeah, so 78% of employees are feeling overwhelmed and significantly less productive. So if you think about those two things that are happening at the same time, that means that most of us are having trouble getting our brains to focus, and we're experiencing overwhelm and low productivity. So you can't be at your best and be fully present, right? Right? That can't happen. So that's why I'm here today, and that's why my purpose is so strong. That is why we are going to be focusing on what are the things that may be getting in your way. Now, here's the other thing. This is the bottom line. If you're here, chances are your problem is not success. you're a smart woman in technology, right? It's the fact that you have this lack of focus and productivity plus the overwhelm that's probably caused by over responsibility. Now, here's what I mean by over responsibility, and you can answer this in the chat as well. Over responsibility could be that maybe you're that yes person, right? You're always saying yes, and you end up being a people pleaser, and then everything is on your shoulders. Or you could be that person that's like the Lone Rangerette, and you like to go at it alone, and then you end up having all the responsibility on your shoulders because you feel like you can do it all yourself. You can do it faster, quicker, all by yourself, right? So that's what I mean by having over responsibility. And the third way that you may have that over responsibility is that you may be what I call the controlista, which I have definitely been in the past. And that is that I love to take charge, right? And then I have comfort in being able to take charge. So I take all of that on my shoulders. And I may not delegate as well. So again, you could be the controlista, you can be the Lone Rangerette, you can be the yes woman, right? You could be any one of those. So good, I'm so glad. So we've got some Lone Rangers, some control, some yes people. Yeah, okay. So here's the thing. I want to give you one gift right out of the bat. If you go to my website, judiglova.com, and you go to my homepage, I actually have an intuitive leadership assessment that you can take. It's 8 easy questions, and you can get your profile. Now, here's why the profile is important, because you're going to be able to see what your superpowers are and what your kryptonite is, right? Or what your blind spots are. And why that's important is because as a leader, knowing yourself and knowing who you are, it's easier to be able to identify, who other people are and be able to work more effectively. So, obviously you're not going to do it right now, but after we're done today, go to my website, judiglova.com, take the free assessment, and you'll get your personalized report. That way you'll know which one you are. And if you guessed in the chat box, you'll actually be able to see if you were right or not. Awesome. So again, this over responsibility, that's why I want you to quit it. All right, just let's get into that mode of we're going to quit this over responsibility, and we're going to find out a little bit about what's causing it. So brain fog, right? It kills your intuitive leadership. And this is what I know, working with leaders for over 15, almost 16 years, it'll be 16 years in July, I have realized that, you know what, when I am that people pleaser, I'm trying to be in control, I'm trying to be that Lone Rangerette, I am basically overwhelming myself. I get into this place of being anxious, and anxiety crippled me at certain points in my career, because my first 17 years of my career, I spent in the pharmaceutical industry, very high tech, doing a lot of really important work there. But I was totally burning out. I was anxious. I never knew how anxious I was until I had a panic attack. And thank God it was the only one that I ever had. But the thing is that all of these things create brain fog. Some of these behaviors, we have our blind spots, they actually create brain fog. So with that said, let's put a stop to the 3 habits that I'm going to go through that are probably part of your kryptonite, okay? Is this brain fog caused by cognitive fatigue? I've actually read some articles recently on the cognitive fatigue, and I'm just going to make one comment about that right now, Dawn. And here's the thing. When you have a certain amount of stress, there's a certain amount of stress that's good stress, right? It keeps you on your edge, you're on your toes. It's awesome. Now, the thing is that when you go, there's a tipping point when you tip into overstress. That's when you go into less ability to be able to make decisions. You're not making ethical decisions, your ability to really connect and think clearly. And we call that the grip. So when you think about the grip is actually, it kind of is it's kind of a visceral word for this cognitive fatigue, because you literally feel like your body is being squeezed by a vice. So think of it that way. Does that help, Dawn? Does that answer your question? Okay, so let's put a stop to the 3 bad habits. Let's dive right in. Okay, so number 1 is our resistance to change, or we can also call it procrastination. I don't know about you, but there's times that when I am resisting change, when I don't like what I'm seeing, And I want to be in control. I'm not happy with the way the world is. I mean, hello, the COVID-19 era right now, there's a lot of resistance to the change. We don't want to be in this situation, but we are. And the thing is that we have to recognize our resistance to change. And we all have it, right? 7 billion people on the planet, in some way, shape, or form, have a resistance to change. So with that said, here's the thing. Here's the first practical tool that I want to give you and for you to put in your toolbox, okay? So the reason why we procrastinate and the reason why we resist is generally, if we think we only have one option, we think it's hopeless, right? Or I'm totally screwed, right? Tell me you haven't said that to yourself, right? So if you think you only have one option, there's only one thing, there's only one way to go, then you feel hopeless. If you have two options, you're in this sense of dilemma, right? So it's like, I'm damned if I do and I'm damned if I don't. And here's what I want to give you an example. So when it comes to the dilemma, we tend to feel like, oh, I'm going to push really hard. Oh, I'm just going to figure this out myself. I'm just going to push. And then you get to the point where you're like, oh, I just give up. I just can't do anymore. And then you're like, no, giving up is not in my DNA. So I'm going to push harder and push harder. And you constantly get in this dilemma of back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Right? That's the dilemma. I'm damned if I do and I'm damned if I don't. You're stuck in a situation of black and white thinking. Okay, so now here's the good news, okay? And this is the practical piece of this. So when you think about how can you stretch yourself to be resourceful, to have choice, right? You have agency and you've got to own your agency. So by doing that, you now have options. So I'll give you an example. I had a client recently who was looking at some job opportunities, and she's like, oh, I either have to, stay in my own business or get a corporate job. And, I don't know which corporate job that I want. And she was really feeling, like she only had two options, which was either to, have her side gig or her consulting business, or have her full-time corporate job that she really wanted. And it ended up that we came up with several different opportunities or several different options. And I'm really happy to say that she really came to the conclusion that she could actually take the corporate job and keep her clients that she loved, because she's also in communications. So she was doing a lot of PR work on the side for local clients. So she didn't want to give that up, but she really wanted this corporate job. So, it's like simple things like that. Instead of feeling like you have to have one or the other, she really was able to take the best of her clients, keep those, and then also take the corporate job. So it was a total win-win. So here's number one, practical tool number one. Okay, any questions? I work better time. Agreed. Okay, all right. Looks like we're good for now. All righty. So number two bad habit that I want you to quit is self-criticism. All right, which is AKA killing yourself with unkindness, right? So how many of you, and then this is something that I ask a lot of people, if you think about that inner voice in your head, when you think about that inner voice, would you let your inner critic speak to this little girl? Give me a yes or a no. When you think about that inner critic, that voice in your head, no. I'm getting some no's. No way, right? Okay. No. Yeah, when I've done leadership workshops and whatnot, and we're in our breakout groups and whatnot, and I ask people, what is the volume on a scale from 1 to 10? What's the volume of your inner critic? And walk away from the child, Melissa, that's great. But when I ask people, what's the volume on a scale from 1 to 10 of your inner critic? Like how loud does it speak? And there are times that we just have to be really conscious that that voice does not overshadow the truth of who we are, that voice of the truth of who you are. So I'm glad that we've got a lot of awareness about that inner critic voice. So let's also think about how can we actually address it. So what I want you to do is I want you to participate. So I want you to close your eyelids for just a second. Close your eyelids with me, no peeking, close your eyelids. And I want you to see a red rose, in your inner vision, whatever inner vision means to you. I want you to see a red rose. Now, also notice what's seeing the rose. Notice that there is a inner witness that's looking at the rose. Now, open your eyelids and answer this question. So, are you the rose, or are you the awareness, the witness of that rose? The witness. Right, exactly. You are the witness, the truth of who you are. You are the awareness of that rose, exactly. So the thing is that, and this is something that's part of our programming, as little kids, we get told that we are our thoughts and we are our feelings. We hold on to them and that becomes our identity. We actually get programmed that we are the rose. But in actuality, when our inner critic is working, it's not the truth of who we are. It's not the witness talking to us. It's actually our mind having thoughts and feelings. And here's another question for you. Do you know what you're going to be thinking about 10 minutes from now? Do you have a sense? Do you know what you're going to be thinking? Chocolate. Yeah, I'm going to be thinking about chocolate, Sharon. You're funny. No, right? We don't know what we're going to be thinking about 10 minutes from now because that's not who we are. But who we are is that witness. That's truly the truth of who you are. So when you're getting in that sense of, or getting stuck in the self-criticism, just really get a sense as to that's not who I am. Those are my thoughts. Those are my feelings. So so that's your second practical tool, okay? So whenever you get stuck in that inner critic and you start thinking and you start feeling really triggered, you know how that feeling is? You start feeling anxious. That is truly that feeling of I am those thoughts and those feelings. I am that rose, but you're not, okay? You can rise above the rose, okay? So here's our next tool that I want you to write this down if you haven't already. You can actually decide to let those thoughts and those feelings go. So let's say we're feeling like we really want control. And we're feeling very controlling, and our inner critic is saying we should be in control. We should. We're shooting on ourselves like crazy. And you can ask yourself these 3 questions. Could you let it go? If you could let it go, would you let it go? And when? Those 3 simple questions, if you fully ask, if you truly get present and ask yourself those 3 questions, you'll notice that you have like a sigh and a release. So these 3 questions are so super powerful, and they are based on the Sedona Method. So a lot of what I'm going to be talking about for the rest of our session today is based on the Sedona Method. And these tools, I'm telling you, they have changed my life. They have changed the life of a lot of my clients who use them. So you have that decision. You can decide, just like, take a pen in your hand. And I want you to decide, right? Put your other hand underneath, but I want you to decide when to let that pen go, right? Just decide to let the pen go. Was it hard to let that pen go? Was it hard to decide to let your pen go? No, right? That is how easy it is to let our thoughts and our feelings go. So give yourself that gift of knowing that you can let go. Do not get into that trap of thinking that you can't and that it's hard. or that you have to try. It's not hard. You don't have to try. You decide to let it go. Okay. So if you only take one thing away from my talk, is that the time is now to end these brain drain habits and unlock your potential. That way you can stop doing leadership and start being that intuitive leader who is fully present and performing at your best. Because if your inner critic isn't, snapping at you constantly, you have that sense of openness and freedom that is truly the essence of who you are. You are that witness. You're not the thoughts or the feelings. And you'll be able to perform at your best, because when you let go of what's no longer serving you, you rise. Okay? So if you remember nothing else, please remember this. Now, I really want to give you your first piece of value add swag. Okay? So you can go to judiglova.com/schedule, and you can actually get a session with me to have a personalized release. And we're going to go through the personalized release right now. That's our last third habit that we're going to break. But you can actually schedule your free session to go through with me something that you want to release. And the next bonus or the next value add swag you'll get at the end. So you get an extra bonus by staying till the end. Okay. So number 3, the third habit is overthinking. Okay, overthinking, which is what I call the private Cat 5 brainstorm. So for those of you in the United States, you know that Category 5 is for a hurricane. So that's why I call it your private Category 5 brainstorm. I'm sure in other parts of the world, they call it something different. But this is all about overthinking. So look at some of these questions, like, why did I say that? I can't figure this out. What will they think of me? What if I was wrong, right? These are all those thoughts. So someone did research, and I'm not sure who did this research, but someone did research, and they found out that we have between 8,000 and 80,000 thoughts per day. All right. Again, I have no idea who was counting all the thoughts, but somebody did that. And then here's the other interesting thing. What I know is that usually at the end of the day, there's 2 or 3 thoughts that get stuck in our minds. It's when we have judgments against ourselves and we lock in, right? We hold on to those thoughts and our feelings, and we don't let them go. But here's the thing. Whenever you think about an issue, a judgment, they're like tissues, right? Your issues are like tissues, and you can just choose to be able to release your issues one at a time. Now, I don't know about you, but whenever I take a tissue out of a box, I don't use it and then put it back in the box, right? That would be gross. So what I want you to know is that you have the ability to release as easy as possible. So with that said, why do you think, or when do you think you typically get stuck in overthinking? Post your answer in the chat. When or why do you typically get stuck in overthinking? When you're worrying, right? When you have a fear of outcomes, right? You care too much. Yeah, exactly. You're stressed out. Oh my God. And you just before sleeping, Narina, exactly. Just before I'm falling asleep is usually when those thoughts are like really freaking out in my head. So here's the other thing that I want you to know. You can get through it, and I'm going to walk you through something right now. There are 3 hooks. We tell ourselves a story. We really want it to be different, and it seems really personal. Okay? So these are the 3 hooks that keep us hooked, and this happens to 7 billion people on the planet. So with that said, if we have those 3 hooks, I'm going to walk you through an experience in our last 5 minutes to be able to show you and give you an experience, because I don't want you to believe anything I say. I want you to experience it for yourself. Okay, so here we go. I want you to close your eyes. I want you to trust your direct experience. So please close your eyes, take everything out of your hands, and just allow yourself to be. And just stop. And just be present to what is. And allow yourself to ask answer these questions to yourself. How has the illusion of being the one in control affected your life? Just allow all those thoughts, sensations, memories, stories, just allow those to be present as best you can. And could you welcome whatever that brings up? And could you notice any wanting, including any wanting to do something with or about this? Could you welcome any sense that it is personal about you or who you are? And could you let go of any remaining wanting to control or to be controlled? Could you welcome surrender and harmony? Could you rest as that which is beyond the need to control or to be controlled? So let's go through those questions again. How has the illusion of being the one in control affected your life? Could you welcome whatever that brings up? Could you welcome any wanting, including any wanting to do something with or about it? Wanting to push it away or hold it close? And could you welcome any sense that it's personal about you or who you are? And could you let go of any wanting to be controlled or control? Could you welcome surrender and harmony? And can you rest as that which is beyond the need to control or to be controlled? Okay, so I know we only have a few minutes left, but I wanted to give you a brief experience of what it's like to go through a release experience. So if you have any questions, love this. I take way too much. I need to be okay with scaling back. Yes, absolutely. Yes, please connect with me on LinkedIn. I actually continue all of this on my feed on a daily basis. And if you want to request any of the slides, also connect with me on LinkedIn. I will be more than happy to give you, or you can go to judiglova.com, info at judiglova.com, and send me an email. Now, the very last, I've already told you what the one thing is that I want you to take away. And the very last piece of swag is that I do have free monthly calls, and it's the Sedona Method support call. So it gives you another experience of being able to have the release experience to understand what it is, but I've already given you an opportunity to get your own customized version by going to judiglova.com/schedule. That way you'll be able to access me. Now, I don't know if I'm going to have access to the chat, so please go to my page on LinkedIn, and I will be more than happy to accept and connect. I keep thinking of Neil Sedaka. I wonder why. Oh, Sedona. Oh, okay. So, any questions? What questions do you have? All right, schedule with me for sure. Can you repeat the 3 things in a row? Which 3 things, Lindsay? Do you want the 3 hooks? So the 3 hooks, if you want to know what the 3 hooks are, the number 1 is telling yourselves a story. The second one is that you want it to be different than the way it is. And the third one is that you take it personally. Great, I'm so glad that you enjoyed this. I need to connect with you. I can't wait to talk with you guys live, so please take me up on that opportunity. And I look forward to meeting you in person. Yes, the practical stuff is so important. Oh, you're amazing too. Thank you. And I want you to be quitters. So quit it. Quit those 3 bad habits. And you'll be able to be at your very best and be fully present. Oh, you're so welcome. Definitely reach out. Ah, chocolate, Sharon. Totally. Let's all think about chocolate right now. You're welcome. You're welcome. Oh, you love my Buddha. Yeah, it's actually from when I went to Bali. So yeah, good eyes. You're welcome, everybody. You're welcome. I can't wait to see you again in person, one-on-one. All right, connecting with everybody. Please find me on LinkedIn. I think our time is up. I think it is. Bummer, huh? Okay, everybody, I don't see any more questions, but I just want to give you all of, my gratitude for being here with me today. And I look forward to meeting you and supporting you in the future, whether it's coaching or workshops. I really enjoyed this so much. Thank you. Mwah. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye now.